Hello everybody of my Fleabass World Tube Web land. I'm doing a quick review of the Fleabass 32 model here because the previous review that I did, the playing was even worse than the playing that you just heard. So quickly on to the meat and potatoes of it all. I want to just say that this is a fantastic bass. I've played the Music Man OLP type basses and the sub basses, which are kind of equivalents, and I actually prefer these. I think they're better basses all around. But as with the OLPs and the sub basses, they do need a little bit of TLC to get them up to kind of great bass standard. And once you have done that, I'd be prepared to say that you're getting into comparison with much higher end bass guitars. I haven't had any trouble with the tuners, the shallow tuning pegs. I have had no trouble with a nut. It's some kind of poly plastic resin type thing. That's fantastic. Good strong rosewood fingerboard that did, however, need a bit of a lemon oil, and I've done that a couple of times to get it up, and now it's nice and glossy and kind of healthy. I did also round the edges with some hard metal object here. You just take it and just rub the edges and kind of give it a nice curved, just rub those sharp edges away, literally just with the edge of a screwdriver or something. It takes you a couple of, not even an hour, half an hour. Get that, just a subtle rounding on each side just to take away those sharp edges as you kind of put your thumb over the top, and gives a bit of a more comfy feel and improves the playability of the guitar quite a lot, in my view. Another thing that I did have to do was file a couple of other frets down ever so slightly, primarily because I have the action on bass guitars ridiculously low. Flea himself has the action at like 2/64ths on each side, and I try to accomplish that, and I can get to that level. There is a bit of a buzz, but the buzz you cannot hear through an amplifier. So that's great. It's a super action, great for slapping and for getting around. The neck itself is very thin compared to Music Man OLP and sub bass type copies. I actually prefer these because it's faster to move about. I've got medium-sized hands, and this is just a perfect fit, really. If you've got large hands and strong muscles in your hands, then maybe you could go with a Music Man. But actually, these are pretty nifty and fast to get around the fretboard. A great feature of this bass guitar is the bridge. I have had no altercations with it whatsoever. There's no rust. It's very solid metal. The Allen key holes in there haven't given me any trouble or seized up inside there, and it's very solid. It's both a string through and a top loader. At the moment I have it top loading, but you can also put those strings through the body if you want to be particular about that kind of thing. I personally don't hear much difference, but I haven't experimented very scientifically on that. Another thing that might be worth pursuing on this bass is changing the pickup for an aftermarket Music Man type pickup. This is a cheap one that I got on eBay just to see what the difference was. I found that it was much more balanced tonally. The standard Flea pickup is a little bit on the trebly side. This is much more balanced. I also put a 2-band Bass Mods EQ in here, which has given a kind of great boost to handy to have the booster on the actual bass here and give it a nice definition. I've also seen that Flea himself has one of these basses, the Damien Hirst model that he had done, and he has the Aguilar preamp put in it, but he has the volume, treble and bass separate, and he puts the volume in the input jack and actually has drilled a hole through the bottom here into the cavity where the jack plugs in. So that's a handy little thing to keep an eye out for if you're that way inclined. Other than that, you know, I think this is a fantastic bass guitar for the money. You can pick them up cheap on eBay when they do come up. Don't let everybody tell you that they're not worth this. They're not worth anything at all, and that you should be buying a Music Man sub. I think they're fantastic fun, and there's plenty of kind of stingray growl to them. And I've just done a separate video on that if you're interested. And I think they're super bass guitars, and I would encourage you to explore. Cheers.